6:05, good morning on what has already been a very active weather morning across Kansas City. We'll get you caught up on that coming up here on KCMO. Of course, an ode and honor to Val Kilmer, who died at 65 years old. And a homegrown Hollywood actor, writes the New York Times in his obituary, who tasted leading man stardom as Jim Morrison in Batman, but whose gifts and elusive personality also made him a high-profile supporting player, died on Tuesday in Los Angeles. He was 65 years old. The cause, according to his daughter, was pneumonia. So, of course, one of his many great roles, including Top Gun, and we are glad to be here with you, kicking it off on 95.7 FM. And I would say, you look back on his career and some of his better roles. I just, forgot that he was in some movies. Obviously, Top Gun comes to mind. But Tombstone, he was in Tombstone, if you go back to that in the early 90s there, Mark. So that's one of his top roles, I would say, looking back on it.
My parents live down in Arizona. I've been to one of the places where they filmed that movie. So that's
very nice.
Cool spot.
Very nice, very nice. But Val Kilmer passing away at 65 years old. Now, on the weather front, the worst, at least for the bulk of the metro, appears to be over after strong thunderstorms came through this morning, most in the 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock hour. Right now, a severe thunderstorm warning is still in play for Grandview, Belton, and Raymore until 6:45 this morning. So the squall line that extended 500 miles from our north all the way down into Oklahoma came through last hour. It was mostly just heavy rains. There was maybe some small hail mixed in there, but you had wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. There was some flooding in certain parts of town, and the Evergy outage map, the last I looked, did have a couple of thousand folks without power, mostly in the Northland. So that is something we'll keep an eye on as well as those reports come in. So just something to watch and keep an eye out for this morning on KCMO.
As people are driving, just watch out for ponding and water pooling up on the highways and such.
Oh, yeah. I mean, ponding, my shoes are soaked.
Oh, no.
Jumping into the building this morning, I only got to go about 100 feet, but there was no way to get into the building without going through about 2 inches of water this morning. So, yes, it's definitely going to be like that on some of your major roadways as well. I know there was a couple accidents spread around the metro. Wendy will catch you up on that as well throughout the morning. Hopefully not going to be a major impact to your morning rush hour. The worst does appear to be over for the bulk of the metro on that front. And Evergy's just updated its numbers here. Total customers without power down from 2,000 to just under 1,000 right now, according to their outage map. So that's a good news, and that all happened here in the last hour or so. So there was a report of a tornado in Salina, Kansas, very early this morning or late last night. In the 11 o'clock hour that came. So we don't have any new information on what kind of damage may have happened, but this did happen near Salina late last night. There are pictures of it that I will repost right now on X at Pete Mundo. You can see it there from Reed Timmer, who is one of the great independent storm chasers in this country. Southwest of Salina is where that blew through, reported by spotters, and was moving rapidly to the northeast, away from a lake out there in the Salina area. So I assume as the sun comes up, we'll get a better feel for what kind of damage they are dealing with in this Salina area, if any. I mean, obviously, best case scenario would be none whatsoever. But you had major hail and a large destructive tornado confirmed to be on the ground in Salina late last night, very early this morning. So we'll keep you posted on that as we find out more throughout the morning on KCMO. In the meantime, my goodness, there's a lot happening today. Let's start in Jackson County. If you are a homeowner in Jackson County, Missouri, you have gone through now 2 years of headache when it comes to these tax assessments and the absolute debacle that has been Gail McCann Beatty, Frank White, and the entire leadership at Jackson County when it comes to handling your tax assessments, which, of course, impacts your property taxes. Well, yesterday, a judge sided with the state tax commission, stating that it acted lawfully last August when it ordered that increases to 2023 and 2024 tax assessments should be capped at 15%. So this is massive, because you have had thousands of Jackson County homeowners who dealt with assessments of 30, 40, 50, in some cases 100%. That number then impacts your property taxes, right? Now, your property taxes have been set for the better part of 18 months coming out of that 2023 disaster of an assessment. But this thing has been hung up in the courts for a long time now. So what you have now is a judge saying that the state tax commission is correct in saying nobody should have seen an increase of more than 15% because the county did not go about its business the right way when it comes to alerting citizens and residents and also doing all the physical inspections that are legally required if somebody gets an assessment that comes in at more than a 15% increase. Now, does this mean you're getting a check back in the mail on, property tax payments? Not right now. No. I wish that were the case, but that's not what's happening right now. My guess is that this will continue to be taken care of in court, that the county and Frank White and Gail McCann Beatty are not going to stop. They can't stop. They're in too deep. Okay, they have fought this thing tooth and nail for 18 months. They are going to fight it with everything that they have left in their body to fight it. Because if not, they're finished. And I don't just mean finished politically, although Gail McCann Beatty is an appointed position as the Jackson County assessor, not an elected position. But Frank White, he's toast politically anyway in this town. He sailed off into the sunset a long time ago. No one ever sees him, doesn't show up to any meetings, not clear what exactly he's doing outside of tapping tushes down the first baseline for the Monarchs. But Gail McCann Beatty has been alongside him every single step of the way. She has been basically Frank White's henchman here throughout this entire process. So they can't give up now. There will be more legal battles. But do know that, you've got not just the Attorney General, Andrew Bailey, who was very excited by this yesterday. He said on social media, today's ruling ensures that the people of Jackson County will not be subjected to illegal tax hikes. He says we'll continue to fight for fairness and accountability to ensure local officials are not breaking the law and exploiting working Missouri families in Jackson County. And you have the auditor, Scott Fitzpatrick, saying, I commend the court for affirming the state tax commission's authority and validity of the preliminary results my office released in December of 23 that outlined how the Jackson County Assessment Department failed to comply with state law and victimized homeowners in Jackson County with a flawed and inadequate assessment process. So you've got people at the state level who have your back. It's amazing that, obviously the statewide officials, Bailey and Fitzpatrick, are Republicans. Here they are, Jackson County, which is generally a blue county. You would think that there would be a wake-up call for some folks to say, gosh, it's these Republicans, these so-called pesky, awful Republicans, who are actually fighting for us, who are fighting for working-class Jackson County families who saw enormous assessment increases and, as a result, enormous property tax increases over the last 18 months. And if not for these state Republicans, they're SOL. They're toast. They've got to just take it. So there's going to be more of a legal battle to come here. But the first step, if there's any respect left at the county level, is for the immediate resignation of Frank White and Gail McCann Beatty. As the executive, as the assessor who has overseen all this, which has been an absolute utter debacle. The first thing that should happen is that both of those individuals step up to a podium at some point today, somewhere in Jackson County, and say that we are both resigning in our roles as county executive and as county assessor. But I am not going to hold my breath. 913-4087-957. It is 6:15 as we get it rolling on a busy Wednesday morning on KCMO Talk Radio. I do want to get to you. If you are a Jackson County homeowner and resident, this has been going on for 18 months. What calls are you making? What are you preparing for? And what can we do to help? We've got Sean Smith, who is a county legislator, on at 7:30 to talk about this and more on KCMO. 621, good morning. A great win and a great day to be celebrating if you are a Jackson County resident and you have been going through this nightmare that has been the county assessment office. Frankly, a story that should be a national story based on how the taxpayer and the homeowner has been mistreated in this country, in this county, over the last 18 months has been such an insult to common sense and such an insult to you. And yes, it's gotten local media attention, but this is frankly, I believe, a story that has been worthy of national media attention based on how poorly this county, the most populated county in our region, has treated its homeowners over the last 18 months. And it is a prime example of how governments who do not have some accountability, who do not feel like they have, frankly, any recourse when it comes to power being put in check, will abuse their citizenry. That's what this county, led by Frank White, with the help of Assessor Gail McCann-Beatty, has done to Jackson County residents. And Gail McCann-Beatty did speak to the media very briefly yesterday after this went down. Frank White was, of course, nowhere to be found. Nothing new.
Talk about a bombshell.
Whatsoever on that front. But here was County Assessor Gail McCann-Beatty reacting to this news yesterday that a judge has sided with the Missouri State Tax Commission and has come out and said, you know what? The State Tax Commission acted lawfully when it ordered the county of Jackson County to put a maximum cap of 15% on property assessments because they acted illegally in their estimation in their assessment process going back nearly 2 years now. Here's Gail McCann-Beatty.
We absolutely sent notices out to every single person in the county. They were given the opportunity for the interior inspection if they wanted it. We completed over 4,000 inspections, and so I don't agree that that was the case, and so we will see where we go from here. That's all I have to say for right now.
That's County Assessor Gail McCann-Beatty talking to Jonathan Ketz on Fox 4 yesterday. Well, we took calls right here on KCMO. I guess she missed the shows, and I'm not surprised by that either, but I guess the county assessor missed your calls from Jackson County residents. When you called up this show and you said, I didn't get a notice. I was supposed to get an inspection. No one ever came by and inspected my house. We've got those of you with Ring doorbells and other security systems all over your home. And some of you actually shared with us that the folks who are working on behalf of the assessor's office did like a 5-second drive-by. And that is what they qualified as a physical inspection of the home. Remember, KCTV5, Angie Racono, who was a great investigative reporter, and I say was because she's not at Channel 5 anymore. She did a great investigative report, I guess it was about a year ago, where she broke down the numbers of the county going through various neighborhoods where they were supposed to be doing physical inspections. And the math worked out where it was something like, the physical inspections they were doing was on average 15 seconds per home. It was something ridiculously low like that. The math just didn't work out for the county to be doing legitimate physical inspections of the properties that they were lawfully required to do based on any assessment that came in with more than a 15% increase. On the text line, 913-408-7957. Many of you saying that you have evidence on what happened in your property, and you can send me that email at any time, pete.mundo@cumulus.com. I will take all the evidence that you've got and use it on the air if you give us the approval to do that, because it is completely out of control. On the text line, Pete, I am preparing to move out of here. There are not enough positive things happening to keep me in Kansas City and Independence. The city's a mess. The county's a mess. I grew up here, but I feel like it's gotten trashy and it's not getting better. I'm looking at rural East Oklahoma and Northeast Arizona. Oh, those are two different areas. Well, if you do go that route, just know you can take Mundo in the Morning with you on the KCMO Talk Radio app. We hate to lose a good listener on 95.7 FM, but if it's got to happen, the good news is just pull us right up on the app there. iHeart app, TuneIn app, Alexa, Google, whatever it might be. You stream us if you end up in eastern Oklahoma or northeast Arizona. Certainly two different parts of the world, but two beautiful parts of the world, I will add as well. 913-408-7957. Sean Smith will be here, Jackson County legislator, at 7:30 today. He has been someone who has been beating this thing like a drum. He has been all over County Executive Frank White and Assessor Gail McCann-Beatty. And he said it. These are his words yesterday. He told Fox 4 it's time for both of them to go, and he's spot on with
Frankly,
this.
It demands the resignation of the people that were responsible from the top all the way down.
Yeah. He's right. What is the case right now to keep them where they're at? The other backdrop here on this story is what? How the stadiums might be impacted by this drama. Does this bring more drama to Jackson County where potentially one or both of our professional teams who are trying to figure out where they're going to play next are just like, screw it. We can't deal with the county anymore. We don't know who's in charge. We don't trust the leadership in this county. The legislature doesn't like the county executive and vice versa. There's no harmony at the countywide level in Jackson County. We've got to go. I'm not suggesting that's where the Royals and or the Chiefs are at, but it adds another layer to that ongoing drama and that saga as well. Well, as we continue to monitor the weather this morning on KCMO Talk Radio, the National Weather Service is issuing a new severe thunderstorm warning for the eastern part of Miami County on the Kansas side into Cass County on the Missouri side. This just coming down, including on the Missouri side, Butler, Adrian, Garden City until 7:15 this morning. Wind up to 60 miles an hour. Hail up to penny-sized is possible. They say here a tornado is also possible, but once again, this is only a severe thunderstorm warning. It is not a tornado warning, just a severe thunderstorm warning.
We do have the tornado watch until 10 a.m.
Yes, that remains in effect for the bulk of the Kansas City metro. But the worst of the storms came through in about the 5 o'clock hour this morning. There was heavy rain, maybe some small hail mixed in there as well. And right now, the Evergy outage map has, they bumped it back up to about 2,000 customers who at this point are without power around Kansas City. So we're monitoring that for you on KCMO Talk Radio. It has been a very active weather morning. There are reports and confirmations, actually, of a tornado striking Salina, Kansas. And I have that photo up on X at Pete Mundo. I reshared it from Reed Timmer, one of the great independent tornado chasers in the country. So that came through at about midnight last night in Salina. Not clear on what kind of destruction, if any, we are looking at in the Salina, Kansas area this morning. Of course, when the sun comes up, I'm sure we'll have more information on that as well. But something we are monitoring here for you on KCMO Talk Radio. Now, yesterday, there were some special elections I want to make sure that you're aware of. And we talked about them yesterday. In Lenexa, they were 3 mail-in special elections in Johnson County, Kansas. In Lenexa, voters approved the continuation of a 3/8 cent sales tax. That was not a surprise. It would be used for basically infrastructure. And a bond issue was approved in the Gardner-Edgerton School District as well for a new elementary school and some upgrades to security in the rest of the school district as well. But the big story is that in Westwood, voters said no to a proposed sale of Joe D. Dennis Park. That is located on Rainbow Boulevard, just off of Shawnee Mission Parkway. Vacant school, green space, and playground equipment are also on the property. And this is one of those things that's a classic example of the people telling the powerful to pound sand. And the people won out. Now, Westwood, Kansas is all of 1,700 residents. It's obviously a very small community right up here in northeast Johnson County. But you had very powerful people, from city council members to city administrators, who were actively pushing and promoting the sale of this park to put up basically office buildings and put up, big mixed-use building and do that whole deal. And the people in Westwood started to activate. They went door to door, and they said no. This was David versus Goliath. The city had all the funding, all the press, all the push on social media, access to residents by mail and email, and the residents won with their voice. I know that you look at Westwood, Kansas, and you're like, it's 1,700 people. Well, why do I care? Well, you should care because it's a great way to signal a win, that, yes, you can beat the establishment. Yes, you can beat your own government. No matter what they want, you can beat your own government at their game. When residents activate, when they're engaged, when they have a good plan in place, you can beat these goobers. And that's what a lot of them are, let's be very clear. They're goobers doing the bidding of developers. It is as bad as it's ever been on this front. When you talk about the incestual relationship between city governments right now, it seems like it's worse in Johnson County, Kansas, and the developer community. And I'm not against development. I'm not against capitalism. But this is crony capitalism, is what it is. And it's absolute worst. You have these developers getting these folks elected. You have them slapping each other on the back. And then what you have on the back end is the developer saying, now give me mine. Now rezone. Now sell this park. Now give me the zoning I want. No ifs, ands, or buts. And, we're going to make a ton of dough. And yes, then we'll keep funneling money into your campaigns to get you reelected. That's the name of the game. And it's going on at the county commission level. It is going on at the city council level all over Johnson County and around the metro. And if you're looking for these wins, if you're someone who's like, what can we do? There's nothing we can do. Listen, they're winning in places like Prairie Village. They are winning in places like Westwood. And these are largely crossing political lines. The people who are standing up against it are crossing political lines. So in Westwood, what you had was a final vote of about 444 to 391. That's not the official tally, but that is the initial numbers that came in after Westwood now will have to obviously keep that a green space. And you know something crazy as well? This story has not gotten nearly enough attention. I just found out one of the attorneys who was working on behalf of the people in Westwood, he's going to be on the show coming up at 8:15. Ryan Kriegshauser is going to be here. He noted, and we were talking about this yesterday, that the city was basically threatening his law firm for the work that it was doing on behalf of the citizens of Westwood trying to keep this park as a park. It is going to be a cautionary tale for how no city should ever act the way the city of Westwood did, and he will share that story with us coming up in the 8 o'clock hour on KCMO Talk Radio. You're not going to want to miss that. That is something that should be getting a lot more attention than it is. But, too many people in this community don't want to make their local cities look bad. And I don't really care. Because the only reason these cities can operate is because of your money. That's it. Cities, counties, and states do not function without your hard-earned money. We are in a place right now where these people think that you work for them. You don't. Now, you elect them, and the problem is people aren't too focused on their county commission elections and their city council elections, and then they're like, wait, these people are doing what? But still, you don't owe them anything. Whether you voted for them or not, you do not owe them anything. They work for you. And there seems to be a misunderstanding on that relationship. In communities like Johnson County, whether it's Westwood, Prairie Village, Overland Park, Olathe, there's a lot of this going on right now. On both sides of state line, it just seems like it's worse in Johnson County, where these people believe that you work for them. And they are not supposed to be held accountable to you. And that's not how this goes. That's not how the relationship is supposed to work. And they seem to forget that once in a while. And then they get upset when really just us here on KCMO Talk Radio call them out on their BS. There is a city right in our backyard here who no longer wants to work with us on a big event that's happening this summer for their fireworks show. And I believe that happened because they're not too happy with some of the things that I have been saying. And that's fine. I don't really care. I'm not interested in doing their bidding. And if that means that we're not going to do fluff fireworks shows for them, so be it. It is what it is. We'll survive. Well, R.I.P. Val Kilmer, Iceman, and what a transition after a tornado warning was also just issued for Butler, Missouri, Urick, Missouri, Creighton, Missouri until 7:30 this morning. This is a radar-indicated tornado that includes parts of Bates, Cass, Henry, and Johnson County, Missouri. Once again, this is on the Missouri side of the state line. Tornado warning, radar indicated outside of Butler, Missouri, moving north-northeast towards Ballard, Missouri. So if you are in that part of the Kansas City metro, of course, that's kind of the outskirts at this point of the metro itself, but there's about 7,000 people in harm's way right now in the southeast part of the region, including Bates, Cass, Henry, and Johnson County, Missouri. That is a radar-indicated tornado. With that tornado warning in place until 7:30 this morning, hail is also involved in this storm, pea-sized. 6 schools, population of potential exposure of about 7,000 individuals. So please do take your precautions if you are in that part of town, or if you have friends or family in that part of town, make sure that you let them know about this tornado warning that just dropped 1 minute ago. You just heard the report from the National Weather Service as well, as we are just after 7 o'clock on a Wednesday morning on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. For our neck of the woods, we got just heavy thunderstorms. Got a light show driving in this morning on 435. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, and heavy, heavy rain. But no hail, some strong wind, but we mostly avoided the worst of it. You had tornado warnings across central Kansas last night. I did get off the phone with emergency management in Salina a few minutes ago, and the emergency management folks are not getting into the office until about 7:30 or 8, so I couldn't get the official report, but the lady at the front desk, the very nice lady at the front desk, did tell me that as of now, there are no reports of severe property damage in Salina after they had a tornado come through last night on the southwest side of town. So as we get more information on that, we'll get an update for you here on 95.7 FM.
Oh, I've just got Greg Bennett if you want to go.
You got Bennett?
Yeah, if you want to go in there.
Oh, he's on...
They switched over from the national show. So.
Oh, they did? All right. Yeah, let's see if old Greg is cooking there on KCTV5. Let me see what Bennett's got for us.
The northeast of Butler right now is most likely where we're seeing that tornado, and is continuing to track to the north and east at about 45 miles per hour. It's not much out here to really look into, so let's get a little bit closer here to show you some localized areas and some state roads. We're going to continue to, again, keep this blip in our sights here. And I'm going to go ahead and put up a track for maybe about 30 to 40 miles out. Let's see if we can get this going. Actually, we're just going to do a short kind of scenario of only about 12 miles out. There we go. Let's put this up. And as you can see, the time frame of this tornado moving towards the north and east here for certain areas such as Ballard, 7:18 in the morning. So you're just about 8 or 9 minutes out from there. Ballard High School, 7:18 as well. Aurora High School. We've got Maysburg out there and New Piper at around 7:33. Any of these places that I just mentioned or that are on your screen, now is the time to go to that safe place quickly, but try to do it as organized as possible. We do not need to panic in this situation, but you need to get to that safe location as quickly as you can. Get the family ready to go. If you have a basement, that is the place to go today, all right? That's where you want to go at this time. If you do not have a basement, that is all right. Find the most interior location of your home.
All right, that's Greg Bennett, KCTV5 this morning. This tornado warning just issued in the last 5 minutes. Just outside of Butler, Missouri, and that is moving north-northeast. So that's Bates County, moving up into southeast Cass County through northwest Henry County, and the warning does extend into Johnson County, Missouri this morning. So it's all on that side of the state line right now. It is obviously not a heavily populated area, about 7,000 people who are in this tornado warning area, but definitely want to make sure that you know about it and inform any friends and family who are out that way. Now, back to what's going on here in Kansas City. We will have Sean Smith on the show, Jackson County lawmaker, coming up in 20 minutes. After yesterday, huge news came down that a judge had sided with the state tax commission in Missouri, stating that it acted lawfully last August when it ordered that the increases to the 23 and 24 tax assessments should be capped at 15%. So this is a huge win for every homeowner and property owner in Jackson County, Missouri. And Sean Smith is calling for the resignation of Frank White and Gail McCann Beatty in the wake of this decision. He is absolutely spot on to be calling for that. They should have resigned a long time ago. Of course, they did not, and I don't expect them to. But Sean will be in studio this morning to talk about that and much more on 95.7 FM. Special elections last night also taking place. And let's start in Florida. So in Florida, you had two special elections last night that were to replace the seats of Michael Waltz, Trump's national security advisor, and Matt Gaetz, who, of course, was named attorney general for like 7 seconds. That'll be a great Jeopardy question one day. Who was Donald Trump's pick for attorney general in 2024 who never actually served a day as attorney general and never even got a hearing? And that'll actually probably be a $2,000 question in Double Jeopardy because Matt Gaetz will be long forgotten outside of being like a meme in a few years. I know. Oh, I know. He's got a show on OAN. You can't say, oh, he's got a show.
How dare you?
Oh, please.
I was wondering if he'd started that yet or not.
I think he started it.
I need to follow Matt Gaetz, I guess, more.
You got to get in the game there, Mark.
Yeah.
Come on. You're not watching Matt Gaetz every night on OAN?
I guess I forgot to tune in.
Hey, man, that's your loss, bro. That's your loss. Yeah, I'm not hearing much about it either.
I'm not worth your Red Lobster money.
Oh, yeah. No, not. But both Republicans won those races, despite Democrats pouring millions of dollars into each of those races. But they achieved what they wanted to achieve. The Republicans won these two seats by about 15 points. That is about half of what the incumbents won these races by in 2024. Gaetz and Waltz won their races by about 30 points. So people are looking at this, and they're coming to the conclusion that there's a softening of support in deep red districts for Donald Trump because look at how well the Democrats did. Yeah, they lost, but they only lost by 15. It's like an NFL team going to week 17. They're 0-15 on the year, and they've been losing games by an average of, let's say, 3 touchdowns, and they lose by 10 points. And they're like, hey, we might be 0-16 to end the season, but we only lost by 10 in the season finale. Let's go, baby. Come on.
Show some RESPICT.
No, I just can't do it. I can't. See, this was the plan. To lose by less, claim victory, and create a narrative that there is a softening of Trump support in deep red districts. That's the narrative that they're trying to create. And that's the end game of these 2 races last night for them, despite the fact that the reality was they're deep red districts. Democrats poured millions of dollars into them. And Democrat voters in general are going to be more motivated for a special election in early April than Republicans will be.
Giving the fan base hope for a better draft pick.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't have anybody on the bench.
Exactly. That's the problem that they've got. Yeah, hoping for a better draft pick, but it's like the draft stinks coming up, you know?
Yeah, no good choices.
It's like Jameis Winston and Jamarcus Russell at the top of the draft.
Ooh, rough.
That's going back. Where's Al Davis, R.I.P., to talk about how Jamarcus Russell is the can't-miss NFL prospect? The guy shows up at the camp 50 pounds overweight.
They might take a kicker like Janikowski or something.
Yeah. Any chance to make fun of the Raiders we're going to do here on KCMO. But that's now the pitch. And I've got an example of that. It's like I told you that this was going to happen yesterday. They would lose these races, but they would claim victory. And it didn't even take an hour in the last night's TV coverage for a major network to do exactly what we predicted they were going to do. And I had that audio for you. You don't want to miss next on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Well, we are monitoring this tornado warning that is for the Missouri side of the state line. It is northeast Cass County, a confirmed likely rain-wrapped tornado that began outside of Butler, Missouri, moving north-northeast through northeast Cass County into northwest Johnson County. Excuse me, that's northeast Bates County, into northwest Henry County, southeast Cass County, and south central Johnson County, Missouri. Make note of that, Johnson County, Missouri. I will never forget, and I don't want to throw this person under the bus because I like him, but one of the main meteorologists in Kansas City a few years ago kept saying Johnson County, Kansas for a tornado warning when it was Johnson County, Missouri. Listen, it happens. I get it. But there's a big difference when it comes to covering this metro.
Big population disparity, too.
Yes, massive, massive. So this is a confirmed rain-wrapped tornado, Butler, Missouri, Bates County, moving through and into northwest Henry County. So Urick is in that lane right now, Ballard, Blairstown. These are lightly populated areas, but still a major impact potentially for this part of our region. And we'll keep you covered on that throughout the morning here on KCMO Talk Radio.
And it looks like it's going to stay north of Clinton and Tightwad, so that's good news.
Yes. Very good news there. Definitely. Did you just want to say Tightwad on the air?
It's my first time, so yes, I was very excited.
Well, you know what? Check that off the box there, Mark, and congratulations.
Thank you.
You got to talk about Tightwad, Missouri this morning.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Hey, man, anything to help you out and help the show. So if you're in Clinton, this is moving to your northwest right now. Right now, confirmed just west of Johnstown. So you do have some of these smaller communities that will be impacted here.
It is moving toward Knob Noster, though.
Okay.
So be careful if you're up in the Knob Noster area.
All right. You got Knob Noster and Tightwad on the show this morning, Mark. So congratulations. Bingo! Nice job there, buddy. Well done. So in Florida, last night you had these 2 special elections. And as we predicted yesterday here on the show, a large part of the coverage from your national media would be about how the loss was actually not that bad. That was the goal. That was why the Democratic Party sunk millions of dollars into these two deep red districts in Florida, to try to shift the narrative. This happens in sports, in news, in business all the time. You try to do things and create narratives and storylines that benefit your team, benefit, your potential employment, the way you look to the boss, whatever it might be. I mean, everybody does it, right? So it happens in politics all the time. Democrats do not have any power in D.C., so they're trying to start the narrative shift. And CNN, they played this thing exactly as I thought they would. It just happened even sooner than I would expect.
Petronas is a strong candidate. He's going to win. We're projecting a win for him. But, Dana, it's not a 35-point win that it should be in ruby red Panhandle, Florida.
You're exactly right. And it is the whole question of the margins, Jake. That is what Democrats have been looking at all night.
Okay. So you heard Jake Tapper there say it's not the 35-point win that it should be. It was only a 15-point win in these red districts. No, Jake, it should not be a 35-point win. The incumbents won by 35 points in November. One, because it was a November presidential election year when everybody and their mother shows up. And two, they were incumbents. There's a power to the incumbency that exists in every congressional district in this country. Sharice Davids is now winning the 3rd district in Kansas by double digits. If she ever retires or leaves or something and this seat is open in the 3rd district of Kansas, I'm not saying the Democrat would not be favored, but the Democrat would not just win by the same margins that Sharice Davids has been winning by. That's not what would happen. Because there's a power and a value to the incumbency if you're doing a halfway decent job. So Jake Tapper's wrong there, but it's about the narrative shift that they're trying to create that, even there's a softening in deep red Trump country. That's what they're pushing for here. Final few minutes of this tornado warning that is in effect for parts of Bates County, northeast Bates County, into northwest, north central Henry County, moving into south central, southeast Johnson County, Missouri. That is in play for another few minutes here on KCMO Talk Radio, and that would include Windsor, Leeton, Calhoun, Missouri. So be sure to keep an eye on that if you were in that part of the region. Great stuff with Sean Smith.
It looks like they just canceled the tornado warning.
Just canceled?
Yeah.
That must have been in the last 60 seconds, Mark.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's why we got you on the ball here with us as well. So well done. Appreciate that, man. Very nice work. In the meantime, Sean Smith was outstanding just earlier here on KCMO, Jackson County legislator, after the big news yesterday coming down that Jackson County lost a lawsuit it filed challenging a state tax commission order to reduce property values on most of the parcels of land that saw double-digit increases in those disastrous 2023 assessments. 913-408-7957. I know we got a heck of a story here from Robert, who is in Jackson County. Go ahead, Robert. You're on KCMO.
Hey, and speaking of tornadoes, we're just so thankful that Frank White cannot steal home anymore. I have several rentals in the area, including my own personal house that I live in. And, we saw empty lots being appraised at $100,000 and more when they should be no more than $5,000 just because all they used was Google Maps, Zillow, things like that, and claimed that was a personal inspection. And so the whole thing's a fiasco. We appealed all of them to the BOE. We're still waiting for, I think, 5 appeals to go through. We got an email that said, if you don't respond to this email, we're going to kick your appeal out just this week. And so it's nothing but corruption, fake numbers, Keystone cops. They're not capable. They're not willing to be capable. It's just a total mess from start to finish.
Wow. So you're still waiting on your appeals with the Board of Equalization?
From 2023.
From 23, and they've already, got the 2025 assessments going here.
Yeah, I'm going to go in with my happy dance if they ever get me in there.
Man, I think this is an embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment to this county, to public office, to government services. It's an utter embarrassment.
Well, even the email, they sent and I've got copies of this I can send you. The email was sent out, and then they had to send out an email correcting the email for date errors and all kinds of errors in it. And I'll probably get another email today saying they messed up the email from the email of the email. But even that was corruption because, we properly filed our BOE, and it said if you don't reply to this email, you lose your BOE appeal.
Yeah. Gosh, unbelievable. Thank you, Robert. Hang in there, buddy. We're gonna make sure that this gets taken care of.
My son and I listen to you every day when I take him to school, so he's learning the real truth that they try to deprogram him out of it when he gets to school.
We'll keep doing our job as best we can here, my man. Thanks for everything.
All right, thanks, Pete.
Deprogram him. Oh, that's funny.